Hey, Bill O'Reilly here. This is the No Spin News for Wednesday, August 12th, 2020. Stand up for your country. Okay, pen and paper. I hope you have it. We're going to tell you who exactly is hurting the country and why. We're going to name names. But first, we're going to start our campaign coverage today on August 12th because both tickets are in place. You should know I am not going to cover this campaign the way the networks and the cable news operations and the newspapers do. That gives you nothing. I'm not running meaningless sound bites, propaganda. I'm not going to do it. All right? I'm going to tell you what is happening, why it is happening, and what, in my opinion, is good for the country. That's what you're going to get here until Election Day on November 3rd. If you want all the propaganda, you got plenty of outlets to get it. So I'm not going to run any sound bites from the Biden-Harris news conference today. Not going to do it. But it's the same thing with President Trump and Mike Pence. They're going to call Harris, well, they're already calling her a phony. I'm not going to run that sound bite. I'm not going to do that. I mean, why? It gets us nowhere. You can assume that Trump supporters despise Kamala Harris. That's how you say her name. Kamala, like comma. All right? You can just assume they despise her, and vice versa. That anyone who would support the nomination of Senator Harris, anyone who would support that, who would like that, hates Trump and Pence. Because Senator Harris is the third most liberal senator on Capitol Hill, only behind Bernie Sanders, a self-admitted socialist, and Elizabeth Warren, who is a socialist but couches it, but she is. So Kamala Harris is third. And therefore, when Joe Biden picked her as VP, it became the most liberal ticket in the history of this country. There is nobody even close. So, if Americans want hardcore liberalism in charge of this country, then they will vote for the Biden-Harris ticket. As simple as that. Now, Donald Trump is not a doctrinaire conservative. He's all over the place. But he is primarily a man who is governing in a traditional way. So the status quo is okay with Donald Trump. He wants to get better deals, better economy, all of that, withdraw troops from abroad. But basically the status quo is what he's going to do. Not Biden and Harris. They're going to blow it all up if they get elected. So let's get into Ms. Harris. Interesting woman. Skin color, it doesn't matter. This is not a skin color play. All right? She identifies as black. She went to Howard University. Fine. Her father was a Jamaican. Her mother is an Indian American, two immigrants. Okay? She was born Kamala Harris, on October 20th, 1964 in Oakland, California. So that would put her 56 years old this coming October. She had a very affluent upbringing. Her parents were professionals. They were immigrants to this country. They did very well. Okay? She was deprived of nothing. She wasn't the little girl looking out the window being bused into a tough school. That's what she wants you to think. That's really not what happened. Yes, she was caught up in the busing. That's true. But this wasn't some kind of a ghetto situation where she was being bused to better herself. No. She had two very professional and successful parents. Kamala Harris is a machine politician. She's not a populist. She's not a socialist. Not any of that. She's a machine politician. And the machine in California is far, far left. We all know that. That's who she is. So, she decides after just being a senator for less than 3 years to run for president. She gets nowhere. She tops out at 15% support among Democrats in the primary system. The campaign was dull. She looked befuddled, not as befuddled as Mr. Biden, but confused. She changed her positions on a lot of different things. Really, nobody could get a handle on who she is. So what the deuce are San Francisco values? Well, as I said on the radio this morning on the O'Reilly Update, and I hope you check that out on BillO'Reilly.com. We post every day if you don't get it in your town. Here is the rundown of San Francisco values. Okay, avoidance of religion, secularism rules, inclusion is everything, lax border enforcement, free citizenship, amnesty for all undocumenteds here, and a fast track to vote. That's very important. So if you give citizenship to all the undocumenteds in the United States, about 15 to 20 million people, and you fast track them to vote, the Republican Party pretty much disappears. We become a one-party country, if that happens. No due process. This is my beef with Kamala Harris. She does not believe in due process. All accusations are convictions in her mind, and we'll prove that in a minute. Low crime enforcement. Now, from a DA and an attorney general, he doesn't want to incarcerate. He doesn't want to, doesn't want to do any of that. Me Too, absolutely. Political correctness, okay, fine. Green New Deal, we love it. Right, these are all San Francisco values, and she's in 100%. There is nothing about Senator Harris that goes against the far left orthodoxy. Nothing. She has no dissenting opinions. Now, why would Joe Biden, who has a record of being a moderate, he's not any longer, Joe Biden is what the far left tells him to be. That's who he is now. Now, why would he select her? Two reasons that Joe Biden selected Kamala Harris. Now, you'll hear from the right that Biden wasn't involved in a decision. They just told him what to do. That's not true. Biden was involved with the decision. There was debate in his crew. The older guys, like Chris Dodd, these people, didn't want Harris. But the younger people did, and the minorities did. They favored her. So she got it. She was chosen for one primary reason: to attack Donald Trump. She is considered the most vicious of all the Democratic politicians in contention for VP. Whitmer is pretty vicious in the governor of Michigan, but Whitmer isn't a person of color. So Harris basically checked off this box. So her job in the next 2.5 months is to attack Trump in unprecedented ways. Remember, Donald Trump's still the president of the United States. Well, you're going to see. It's going to be unbelievable. And the second reason she was chosen was because in response, it is difficult to kick back at Senator Harris. And when Trump does, and the Trump supporters do, they will be branded racists and misogynists. That label, no matter what the counterattack is on Ms. Harris, racist, misogynist, if you say anything negative about her, bring up her voting record, you say anything bad, that's what you are. Okay. Will it work? I don't know. Okay. Could. Possible. But I'm not voting for her or for Biden. I don't want the country demolished. And that's what they would do. Everything. You name it. It would be demolished. Little Sisters of the Poor don't want to pay for abortion pills. Little Sisters of the Poor pay. All right. I mean, I'm just throwing that out of the wind. All right. My tax rate, about 50% now, 65, 70. That's where that's going. Sorry. Okay. Now, 8 women have accused Joe Biden of misconduct. You all know the story. I'm not going to go over it. I don't know any of these women. One of them is Tara Reid. And that was the worst accusation, whatever. Here's what Kamala Harris said about the 8 women who attacked, and they did attack, all right, Joe Biden. She said this on April 2nd, 2019. Go.
I believe them, and I respect them being able to tell their story and having the courage to do it.
Do you believe that the vice president should enter this race?
He's going to have to make that decision for himself. I wouldn't tell him what to do.
I believe them. I believe them. If you believe them, why would you be running with Joe Biden? I'm a simple man. Okay. Now, when Harris in 2020 was asked about Tara Reade, I'm not going to repeat Reade's allegations. I don't do that. All right? But they're bad against Joe Biden. Here's what Harris said in March of 2020. Quote, Tara Reade has a right to tell her story, and she shouldn't face any repercussions for that. But the Joe Biden I know is somebody that really has fought for women and empowerment of women and women's equality and rights, unquote. Well, that's a little bit different than 2019 when Harris was running against Biden, is it not? And we had a little thunder action here in New York City. Don't get scared. I'm all right. Okay. So what happened? Well, she knew that she was being considered for VP. So Kamala Harris believed all the women in 2019, but not so much in 2020. Now, I'm only reporting this to show you who she is. All right. Key issues for you, the American voter. Black Lives Matter. Roll the tape.
They're not going to stop. And this is a movement, I'm telling you. They're not going to stop. And everyone beware, because they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop before Election Day in November, and they're not going to stop after Election Day.
Senator Harris, big fan of the Black Lives Matter movement. Big fan. Doesn't matter they're Marxists. She loves them. All right. Healthcare. Roll the tape.
So once and for all, do you believe that private insurance should be eliminated in this country?
No.
You don't?
No, I do not.
But you raised your hand last night.
But the question was, would you give up your private insurance for that option? And I said yes.
Oh, I think you heard it differently than others then.
Probably, because that's what I heard. I am a proponent of Medicare for all. Private insurance will exist for supplemental coverage, but under my vision of Medicare for all, one, we will expand coverage so that it would include dental, it would include vision, it would include hearing aids, which is a big issue for our seniors and extremely expensive.
That's right. It's extremely expensive. Who would pay for that? We got a $30 trillion debt now. Who's going to pay for that? You'd have to seize private property in order to pay for all the health care that Kamala Harris wants to pay for. You have to seize private property. You have to. Because there are not enough wealthy, affluent people in the country to pay for it. And corporations are going to move overseas. They're already starting. It's already started. Because a lot of people think Biden and Harris are going to win. Say goodbye. They're leaving. Not going to pay what the Democrats want to tax in the corporate realm. All right, finally, another soundbite. I mean, I know you know. But I think this is all instructive to get on the record. So my main beef with Kamala Harris is that she does not believe in due process. In this country, you are innocent until proven guilty. Proven guilty. Just because somebody lodges an allegation doesn't mean you did it or you're guilty. But not to Kamala Harris, who was the Attorney General of California. She believes all accusations from women, all of them. She didn't check out the 8 women who attacked Biden, but she said she believed all of them. Every one of the 8 Kamala Harris believed. But now she doesn't believe them because she's running with Joe Biden. On Brett Kavanaugh, Kamala Harris was outrageous. Roll the tape.
I believe her.
listen, first of all, anybody who comes forward at this point to be prepared to testify in the United States Senate against someone who's being nominated to one of the most powerful positions in the United States government, that takes an extraordinary amount of courage. And frankly, you know, I have personally prosecuted sexual assault cases, and my concern is, and she knows this, she is putting herself out there knowing that they're going to try and excoriate her.
Well, it's true. She was excoriated, Christine Blasey Ford. But Kamala, believes her. She believes her. The FBI turned up not one piece of evidence to back up Miss Ford's assertions. Not one. And yes, Miss Ford was criticized. But she walked away with more than $1 million. Do you know that? And the GoFundMe stuff. And her own radical left attorney said that one of the reasons Miss Ford went after Brett Kavanaugh is because of abortion. Said it. So, let's sum it up. Senator Harris, third most liberal on Capitol Hill. Third. Skin color means nothing. Wasn't chosen for her skin color. Gender means a little bit, but not a lot. Chosen because she will attack Trump in a vicious way. And if you go back at her, then the left and the Democratic Party will label you a bigot, a racist, and a misogynist. They'll do. All right? So she's got this kind of protective shield around her. The most important thing for you as an American citizen to remember is that there is a chance, and I hope it doesn't happen, that Joe Biden will not make it. Will not make it in his 4 years if he wins. All right? For a variety of reasons. Do you want Kamala Harris? Really? Even you liberal Democrats? And I know you listen to what I say. You really want her? Because she would demolish the United States of America as we know it. Okay, I think that was pretty comprehensive. Please let me know what you think. If I'm unfair, please. If I'm unfair, bill@BillO'Reilly.com, you let me know. I think that was an excellent summation of that woman. No BS, no propaganda, fact, 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 fact. Now, here are the people who are hurting America right now. I promoted this as a special report. And there's an interesting editorial in the Wall Street Journal that Wall Street Journal publisher wrote it and said, look, everybody else is just agenda-driven in the journalistic community. They don't care about fact-based truth. We in the Wall Street Journal do. I've seen stuff in the Wall Street Journal news pages that's just not true. And the Wall Street Journal leans against Trump in the news pages. In their editorial pages, they favor Trump over Biden. And it's two separate things. But anyway, what you have to know, and I'm sure you do, is that the press is no longer honest in America. All right? They want Trump out. And they're going to do everything they can, including printing dishonest stuff, that's the fake news, to get him out. And they don't care. All right. New York Times, Washington Post, CNN, Warner Media, that's HBO and a whole bunch of others, CNN, Warner Media, CNN, Disney, ABC, The View, NBC News, MSNBC, all of them. You can't believe what they tell you. That's it. Social media, Facebook, Google, Twitter, all of them run by left-wing zealots. All of them. Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez wants to destroy the country as we know it. Bernie Sanders, likewise. Elizabeth Warren, likewise. Nancy Pelosi, a little bit different. A little bit different. But here's the key question. What is the difference between Nancy Pelosi and Kamala Harris? There is no difference. The Lincoln Society, made up of Republicans. Steve Schmidt, who worked for McCain, Conway, who's Kellyanne Conway's husband, a bunch of others. They hate Trump so much that they are putting out false propaganda to try to hurt him, and in the process, hurt the country. Following mayors are destroying their cities and, by extension, the country. New York City, de Blasio; Chicago, Lightfoot; Portland, Wheeler; Seattle, Durkin; Minneapolis, Fry; Washington, Bowser; Baltimore, Young; San Francisco, Breed; Dallas, Johnson; Houston, Turner; Denver, Hancock. All of them will not enforce the law, are allowing behavior that hurts their own citizens dramatically because they are far-left ideologues. The governors in the same category: Pritzker of Illinois, Cuomo of New York, Newsom of California, Brown of Oregon, Inslee of Washington State, Walz of Minnesota, and Whitmer of Michigan. Now, I'm sure there are others and other mayors too, but those are the headliners. Okay? They are damaging the country, putting people in danger, looking the other way when murder is on the upswing dramatically. I've never seen anything like it. Usually, politicians try to protect their citizens. In this case, they don't even try. They don't care. As long as liberalism, as long as socialist policies, that's what they want. Got to be a few casualties along the way, right? Hollywood. It's important. There are two major agencies in Hollywood that are blackballing people who are not far left. That means if you're a conservative in Hollywood, you will have a very hard time working. The two agencies are United Talent Agency, UTA, run by a guy named Jeremy Zimmer, and the William Morris Endeavor Agency, run by Ari Emanuel, brother to Rahm Emanuel, who ruined Chicago. Okay? How it works in Hollywood is, if you want to hire somebody, they have an agent. These are two huge agencies, and they promote people. They say, oh, this one would be good for this role. That one would be good for that role. If you're a conservative, they're not going to handle you. Protest groups. ACLU, we went over this yesterday, far left group, open borders. They're not a group anymore that looks out for civil liberties. Black Lives Matter Global Foundation, Marxist group, run by Alicia Garza, Patrisse Cullors, and Opal Tometi, all admit they're Marxists. That's communists, okay? Open Society Foundation, that's Soros. We'll get to him at the end of the program. It's his birthday today. Media Matters, okay? Far, far left. They try to destroy people with whom they disagree. Move On, same thing. Color of Change, another far left organization that pays people to go in and demonstrate. They pay protesters. Color of Change, based in Oakland, California. Now, there are many more. I'm just giving you a sample. All of the people that I've mentioned are hurting America. Okay? Partial list. George Soros. Happy birthday, George. You're 90 years old today. There he is. What a guy, huh? He was born August 12th, Budapest, Hungary, 1930. Family was prosperous. Jewish family. Nazis moved in. They lost everything. There is no truth to the rumor that Soros collaborated with the Nazis. That is a bogus story. He was 15 years old. He's just trying to survive. Didn't do anything wrong. After World War II, Soros and what remained of his family moved to London, England, where he attended the prestigious London School of Economics. George is a smart guy. Now, his fortune, nobody really knows how much money he's got, but he's got multiple billions of dollars because he's given that much money away. All right? he has given $32 billion away since 1984. So who gets it? Well, Black Lives Matter Global Foundation got $33 million to the Marxists over there. According to a report from the Washington Times, the reporter is Kelly Riddell. You want to check it out. Human Rights Watch, another far-left organization, got $100 million from Soros. ACLU got $50 million. Racial Justice Initiatives, that's Color of Change, all of these radical left organizations. They got $220 million in pledges from the Open Society Foundations. I don't know how much money showed up. Planned Parenthood, $18 million. NAACP Legal Defense Fund, $15 million. Hillary Clinton's campaign, $10 million last time around. Since 2015, George Soros has spent more than $17 million on district attorney races. And that is why you are seeing the collapse of our criminal justice system in America. You shoplift, they don't prosecute. You punch somebody in the face, they don't prosecute. You get arrested for stealing a car, no bail. You get arrested for deadly assault, no bail. Soros behind it. Happy birthday, George. Of all the people in my entire 46-year career, George Soros, in my opinion, has harmed America more than any other human being on the planet. More than bin Laden. More than ISIS. He has subverted our traditional system of justice. He has supported the worst Bolshevik elements you could support. And you can write me a letter and you can say, why? Why? I don't know why. I don't know. He lives in New York, 3 residences here, doesn't live anywhere else, married 3 times, has some kids. 2 of his sons run the Open Society Foundations now. But I've never seen anybody do as much damage to the United States of America as George Soros. Let's do some mail. This is Brian Masonbrink, Neptune Beach, Florida. Says situation that Breonna Taylor was shot and killed by police officers. However, it's important to have some context. No-knock warrants are very tough to get and usually issued because the person being pursued is known to be dangerous. Although it wasn't the same person the police were shot at when serving the warrant in Louisville, what do you expect the police to do? I expect the police to know exactly who's in the house when they execute a no-knock warrant. That's what I expect. Eyes on it. Come on. It's a woman dead because the cops screwed up. Cecilia Asper, Haymarket, Virginia. Mr. O, why do citizens in our collapsing cities keep electing officials to run into the ground? Because they don't know anything. It's a machine. Peer pressure, all of that. It's not like they're watching the No Spin News or reading the Wall Street Journal. People don't do that. Ignorance. Bob Pinaya. If I were to watch an NFL game and the national anthem were not played before the start, I'd turn it off. Well, have fun. You're not going to hear the national anthem this year, Bob. Not gonna. Take it to the bank. Bill, I took your advice and began reading history books during the pandemic. I decided to read for the second time all 8 of your killing books. What a great surprise to discover many historical facts, and it was exciting at the same time. If you become a lifetime member to BillO'Reilly.com, you get all of the history books free. All of them. And we want you to buy our Stand Up for Your Country stickers in our store. And when writing to us, and Killing Crazy Horse, by the way, is out on September 8th, we throw that in. So you get 9 books if you become a lifetime member. Word of the day, do not be a poltroon when writing to us. Back with the final thought in a moment. We're exploding here at BillO'Reilly.com. We're doing great. And we thank the First TV for helping us. But we want to reach everybody. Now's the time. The most important election of my lifetime is underway. I will see you on Monday, and we are kicking it in to gear for the election.